Hello my fellow crafters, welcome back to Inspiration for Cards. My name is David and today I'm going to be making a card. And not just any card. Because today, it's Tuesday I think. I'm recording this another day obviously. But today is Tuesday and it's the launch of a new collection, a brand new collection at Elizabeth Craft Designs actually. And it's designed by Anja, who is working at the head office in Colorado from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And she hand drew a fantastic collection. I will show you that in a second, but yeah, that's what I'm going to be working with today. So it's going to be a nice vintagey style card. I love it. I'm going to make it a bit grungy. So let's switch the camera so we can have a look at what I'm going to do today. What I'm going to be using is, of course, the stamps. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to use some texture paste. This is the translucent texture paste. You can use any, doesn't matter. I'm going to use this weathered gold embossing powder designed by Seth Epter, by Wow. That's an opaque one. I'm going to use, if it wants to come out, there we go, vintage photo embossing powder. Put this to the side. And I'm going to use this beautiful paper pack designed by Esther Glas. It's a 12 by 12 paper pack and it is gorgeous. You can see all the different designs here. I'm going to be using this one. I've cut out of it already, so that's the one I'm going to be using. But beautiful paper pack. Go and check it out because it's absolutely stunning. It's great quality. It's with thicker paper, so you can use it for your planner. Yeah, I just love it. I just love it. So that's going to go to the side because I don't want to smudge that up. So let me show you Anja's collection. Now this is a butterfly I've been using quite a lot already, but this is one of the stamps, and there's also a die set available. So this is English Countryside 2. This is Hello Darling. I love that saying, Hello Darling. I might actually use that. So I'll keep it to the side here because I like that saying, Hello Darling. This is more a religious, the Lord's Light. For the Bible journalist, perfect, but also for making cards. But also this one, you can see it's well loved. I've used it many times already. This one is fun as well, the cream and sugar. I love these frames that are in there. So yeah, lots of fun with that. But I'm going to use this one today. I love these frames, so I'm going to be using those. I'm going to be using the, I might use, I don't know, we'll see. I'll just go with the flow. So that's what I'm going to be working with today. I'm going to use this beautiful stencil from the art journal collection because I think that is a beautiful pattern, which is, yeah, it matches this feeling for me. So I've cut my paper out to fit on my matte layer. I'm going to do a black matte layer, so that fits on there beautifully, as you can see. And then I've got my card panel ready, or my card base ready to go as well. Now, what I'm going to do, I like that vintage feel, so I'm going to round the corners on this. So let's do that first. So I've got, this is from We Are Memory Keepers, a corner punch. I think every corner punch will do. There we go. Oh, there they are. I was looking for them. Did you see me? I was looking. Where did they go? So this is nicely rounded corners, and I will do the same to the matte layers as well. So that's fitting on there, beautiful. You see. And that immediately gives it a different feel to the paper. So I'm going to put that to the side. So I'm going to take my little craft sheet out. I'm going to put this on there. And I'm just going to put this sort of like that. Doesn't have to be perfect at all, but I do want to make sure it doesn't slip everywhere. So I'm just gonna put that like so. And then I've got my little spatula and I'm just gonna put on my texture paste. So not too thick, just a thin layer. And then I'm going to peel this off. Come on, you can do it. There we go. You see? It's just some on there. I'm gonna peel this one. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take my vintage photo embossing glaze. And I'm just gonna pinch some out of there with between my thumb and my index finger. And I'm just gonna sprinkle that on here. Just sprinkle that. Don't dump it all on there because I don't want it all covered in this. I'm going to mix that with my weathered gold from Seth Epter. That's a bit of a different, it's sort of a mixture of different structures. Yeah, it's fun stuff. So, oops, messing that around. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on there as well. Just making sure it's covered everywhere. And even if it's not 100% covered, that doesn't matter. But I just want to sort of have a mix on there. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap dance underneath. Because if I would dump it up now, you would have the majority sticking to one side. And I don't want that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, as Tim Holtz says, do a tap dance underneath and guide it off that way. Just like that. You see a mixture of color in that texture paste. Now, I'm going to set this off to the side and let that dry, and then I will melt that embossing powder, but that will be when it's melted. So I'll put that there. So next I've got an A4 sheet of the Elizabeth Craft Design soft finish cardstock. Beautiful stuff. So I'm going to stamp on that. I'm going to stamp on the smooth side. And I'm going to stamp using black. In this case I'm going to use the Versavine Claire Nocturne. And let me get my stamping block. And I'm just going to start with stamping out the butterfly and the two frames. It's a big butterfly, and it fits on the block perfectly. So I'll just ink that up and stamp that on the paper. Now I want to help it along with stamping a bit, so I'm going to use a stamping foam, just a little stamping mat. It's sort of a cushion. It has a bit of, yeah, I don't know how to call that, but it helps with stamping. If you struggle with stamping, try that or use your platform. So I will put that right there and give the ink some time to sink in. And there's a beautiful stamped butterfly. Simple as that. I'm just going to do one more, just in case I mess up with coloring. You never know with me, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do some very simple coloring because that's not really my strongest point, but also I like to keep things simple. It doesn't have to be rocket science. So I'm just going to, do that in a simple way. Now this is the Elizabeth Craft Designs watercolor. I'm going to use those, and I'm going to use, I've got a metallic watercolor palette from Derwent, and I'm going to use that for the frames because I want a bronze color on there, and I think that pale gold is a beautiful color that matches the paper nicely. So that's what I'm going to use for the frames. So yeah, I'm just going to dive in and color a bit. I've got a small watercolor pencil here. I've got my water here. and I will just see what colors to use. Now I'm going to start with the bee, and I'm going to use that little bit of orangey color right here, and I'm going to start with that on the outside of the bee. Now, as you can see, these colors are really pigmented. So I'm just putting on the base the darkest color I want at the sides. I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to take my little cloth, just wipe off my brush, and I'm going to wash out that color towards the inside. Now that was a bit too much, so what I did, I've wet my brush and I just dabbed it from the middle, you see? And that kept the middle a bit lighter. And continuing here. I don't know if you can see that, but I kept the center a bit lighter, and that gives him a bit of dimension as well. Just very lightly with a brownish color, I'm gonna just give that a hint of darkness around his body to make it a bit darker and rounder. Now, his wings, I want a bit of color as well. And I was thinking this silvery sheen might be nice on there. So I will just activate that pigment and just starting from the body, bring that out, and that will give it a nice sheen, like wings, fairly. Yeah, that seems to work. You see that? Beautiful shine. So I'll do the same on this side. So that's my bumblebee done. I think it's a, is it a bee? Is the bumblebee? I think it's a bee, right? But I love him, so. And then I will just quickly do the frames, because then the metallic pan palette can go away. You see the beautiful shine it gives? I like that. So that's that one done. And then I will just do this one the same. And then onto my butterfly. And I think, what colors am I going to use? Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll stick to orange, and I'll use a red to darken it up from the inside ever so slightly, but again, I don't want this to be too much. Coloring or so then I'm coming in with this red that's next to the orange that I'm using. I'm just going to put that down right here. Coming from the body, the darkest color, and I want that right here in the tip of his wings, or her wings, whatever it is. rinsing out my brush, and then with a clean brush I'm just gonna blend that up into that orange. And then I will do the same here. So I will come in from here, from the body where the pigment is most intense, and I will, with small turning motions, I will bring that color out towards that orange and then blend that together. You see that? That gives a beautiful blend. So the dark orange goes into the lighter and then into the darker red again. I like that. Now for his body I'm just taking this color, which is a brownish reddish color. And I'm just gonna start here at the bottom and here on the sides. Now for these 4 dots I just want a bit of a contrasting color, and I'm gonna take the dark purple here, because for some reason purple and red, I like that. So I know it's not the obvious choice, but I just like that pop of purple there. And I think that's all my coloring done, except for he dried beautiful and he's beautiful as well. I'm just gonna do these roses, and I'm just gonna do that using the same red, I think. So that has some color. So it's time to start cutting things out. Now these come with matching dies. That's very convenient. And they're very easy to line up. So first let me start with this beautiful butterfly. Just gonna put my tapes here so I have my hands free and I don't stick everywhere. So now my head is going to be in the way, I'm sorry, but I need to hover over this to really make sure it's lined up well. Now these all trimmed out beautiful. You see, easy to line up. Yeah, I love that. So that's that done. Now this should be dryish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to melt the embossing powder, and that's really a cool effect. So make sure your heat tool is heated up. Don't burn your fingers. And start melting that powder. You see that? By mixing these two, yeah, I love it. I love it. Look at that. You see the mix of the photo translucent with the translucent paste underneath. So yeah, that's giving it a really almost glass-like effect. I love it. I love that. Now I just want to edge this a bit to give it more of a vintage look, but also I want to get rid of that white border there. So I'm going to take out my frayed burlap, ink that up, and just go around the card. I'm going to do the butterfly as well with frayed burlap. And you see immediately it changes to more of a vintagey feel. Despite of the bright colors from the watercolor, those I love, but this sort of tones it down. But still has that brightness. You see? Oh, that is beautiful on there. Right, I'm going to do the same with this frame, because I think actually with this here, that is enough. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use these. I'm going to etch this with vintage, not vintage photo. Come on, David, get your head out of the gutter. Frayed burlap. There we go. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put this onto my matte layer, and I'm going to use glue because I don't want to mess it up after all this work. And glue, art glitter glue, gives me a bit of wiggle time. Not much, because it's a fast drying glue. That's why I love it. But it gives me just enough wiggle time to wiggle it around, right? So, text is readable, which is also nice. There we go. Nice little black border around it. And then I'm going to do it like this, I think. Yeah. So I'm just gonna glue all this, stick this down. Now this part of his wing is sticking out a bit, which is fine with me. So I like that. So I'm just gonna put some glue where it's not really sticking. Like this is not it might need some time to stick down because this embossing powder obviously has some structure, so I'll just give that some time. I'm not in a hurry. We're doing this for fun, right? Once the glue grabs a hold, it's fine. There. See how well that color matched? Yeah, I did that well. Good. And I'm just gonna, because I want that wing to overlap this. Yeah, I like that. So I will just press that down a bit. Are my hands clean enough? Yeah, they are. So I've got my card base here. So I'm just going to use my glue again. Go around that edge, put some glue on. And place that panel at the front. Now, this collection is endless in possibilities. I'm going to use it in my art journal. So if you want to see how that works, join me on Thursday during my live, because I will be playing with that then. Or if you watch this later, then watch the replay. Because then it's not the next live, probably. Right, this is beautiful. Now, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to put that on the inside. And I'll just put that right here at the bottom. And I can write my message at the top. And then I've got something fun and new, because what I've got here is a monogram stamp. And as I said, it's new. So I haven't used it much. But I think if I do it, don't just freehand it, David, just double check. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to put that right here at the back. It's my monogram, DNR. Yeah, love that. So just that gives it a nice homemade feel. And here it is. is the finished result of my card with this beautiful new collection from Anja. I love it. Look at that. I love the butterfly, I love everything. I love the background I created with the stamp, with the stencil and the embossing powders. Yeah, this is up my alley. The vintage, grungy look, love it. And I love the bright colors as well. I just love how this card turned out. If you do too, if you like this card too, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. I always respond and I really appreciate it if you do. So thank you for watching and I would love to see you for the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.